So I used to think that once I got more disciplined, and by that I mean work out more consistently, go to school, stay on top of my all of my assignments, get my finances right, get my, everything just straight, I'd finally feel fulfilled. And I did all that. I locked in, as they say. But my life overall, I don't know if you can relate to this, but it just kind of felt empty. It didn't really feel like it had any kind of purpose. Even right now, kind of a vulnerable moment for me, but just thinking, like, I'm in physical therapy school right now, top of my class, doing really well. I have a job that pays well, but I feel empty. Even like right now, as we speak right now, that's why I even started this YouTube in the first place, is so that I have a creative venture and just to get my thoughts out, but also to find other people that can relate to this. Um, but basically, my life feels empty despite checking all the boxes of what, kind of society says. If you check these boxes, you're predisposed for success, right? But for some reason, I just feel like I'm drifting. So that's the weird part. You can get everything right, be productive, not party every weekend, not waste time, but something still feels off. And no one really prepares you for that. There's no class that you take in school. You go through formal education for so long, you graduate, right? And then you're in your early 20s and you're just kind of plopped into the workforce, and it's like, okay, what do I do now, right? And more likely than not, you just kind of get like, how do I do it? Swept into the cog or into the system, right? To become a cog in the wheel. And when this happens, I've noticed that one of two things happens, right? It's either you become the partier, right? It's just extremes, right? I don't really see like anyone doing like a perfect balance of the two, but you'll become a partier where it's like live for today, right? Take care of all that stuff tomorrow, and really not take care of yourself, right? Or on the complete flip side, really take care of yourself on paper in terms of what you feel like you need to take care of, like your health and whatnot, which sounds great, right? That's good. Honestly, I think it's better to be on that side, right? But at the same time, let me talk about, I guess, the drawdowns of being on this side. You're so future oriented that you forget that, you're supposed to have a reason why you're even being future oriented in the first place, besides society telling you that's what you need, right? No, this is a little bit all over the place, but, just kind of getting my thoughts out. But what if your plan that you've developed, right, for your future, it doesn't feel like your plan, or deep down you know that that's not your plan. It's just what society or what your parents have told you is the safest way to go about life. What if you're just going through the motions of life and it's not even the life that you want to build? Genuinely, if you want to ask yourself the question, if money was not the issue, what would I want to do? A lot of people want to avoid that completely, because the truth is, the real answer is actually what you need to be doing. Like, deep down, like, you've lived enough life to know what you like, what you don't like, and if you don't know that answer, what a perfect position you're in right now, because you can now take the time to explore said things that you've always wanted to try, right? But anyway, something I've realized is having this intense structure without meaning simply just leads to burnout and anxiety around doing the things that you've like structured your life around. You're just anxious doing it, and you're on the cusp of burnout because you know that it's like it doesn't really light your soul on fire to do it. It's not one of those things where you do it and then the time just goes by fast. I know I'm speaking very generically, but a lot of people can relate to this with whatever situation you're in right now in life. But progress without purpose equates to emptiness. And I thought I was building discipline, but what I really needed was direction. And direction in terms of things that, again, I say it a lot all the time, but light your soul on fire. I heard this from, there's a YouTuber out right now, I forget his name, but he basically he's a mathematician, he's a math teacher, but he's very philosophical, and he talks about how, back in the olden days, or not in olden days, but the Renaissance, like, people would not, they're not locked in, like they're not working, you know, in a cubicle or a 9 to 5. They would literally spend time pondering, thinking, doing the things that got them into the flow state, right? But unintentionally, right? And inevitably, the by following their passion, they were able to contribute way more to society rather than like trying to fit in society's mold and then like produce subpar things, right? Which is kind of where we're at right now. We're not really optimizing every single person's potential because we as a society don't really tell people, well, we tell people when they're young but not really when they get older, to chase after their dreams, you know. And again, just to circle back, doing hard things isn't enough if you don't know why you're doing them. You can wake up early, train, study, do all those things and still feel empty inside if you're not anchored towards the thing that actually lets a fire in you. And so I started, I think a couple weeks back, before I even started the YouTube, I started asking myself what kind of life I actually wanted, like for real. Like I wrote all of this stuff down on paper, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is kind of cringe. It's either cringe or I'm like, man, that's so unreasonably big. That's kind of scary. But I think that's where you need to be, where it's like you kind of need to be scared of your own like dream, I guess, because it's too big. I think that's where it's got to be. And it's like I've been thinking about who I want to become in 10 years. Not just, okay, I'm going to have this job 10 years from now, but like what kind of person do I want to be? What kind of life do I want to have? And just be honest about what I'm doing, like just be completely honest and my full authentic self when I'm at work or whatever thing that I'm pursuing, because the authenticity is going to produce my best, result, like my best like product, I guess, whatever that might be at the time. It could be physical therapy, it could be something else, right? So once I started to define my direction, and it could be vague, it doesn't need to be, oh yeah, I'm going to do exactly this, I'm going to do exactly that, right? But if you have the general, once I just defined my general direction, I started to feel the fire again, like slowly but surely. I started like wake up and I finally have a purpose, or things that I had to accomplish for the day that was directed towards the thing that would again light my soul on fire, which for me it's honestly making this YouTube and just talking about stuff like this, where it's like I don't have all the answers, but I do have lessons, and if I talk through it, I can piece together an answer for myself as well as people around me, you know. I wasn't motivated every single day, but I had a reason behind it. I know that doesn't super make sense, but it's like I wasn't just, it wasn't just like a short spark of motivation, but when you have your reason for why you do something, you tend to stick with it. And that's the one thing. It's like when people say, I tried, or I gave it my honest effort, I think, there's a mix of a lot of things, but the things that work together are when you genuinely try, you give effort for an extended period of time towards said thing, but the only way you can give that extended period of time doing said thing is if you knew that that said thing was actually your purpose, and like it makes you happy, you know. Like you can stick with something that looks like work to other people and just do it over and over and over, not know the result of it, right? If the thing was actually making you happy. And it's like, I know I'm going in circles now, but it's like a lot of people listening to this in their 20s, they're either unemployed or they have a 9 to 5 that doesn't actually define who they are. Their work doesn't represent their inner soul, you know? So I want to be clear when I say that if you're doing everything right but life still feels numb, you're not broken, you're not a fraud, you're not lazy or ungrateful. That's the one thing where it's like it gets pounded into your brain over and over that you're ungrateful, right? Because you live in the United States and, a lot of people have it worse. It's not about that, you know? Like, it's so weird how many people have been having the same conversation with me, and I'm experiencing it myself right now. So you're probably just living someone else's script, and now's the time to just rewrite your own. And the emptiness does go away. slowly but surely, not when you hit a certain goal, but when you start living a life from the inside out instead of outside in. You're probably going to have to listen to that again, but you're not going to do it for approval. You're not going to do it for followers, not for society, not for your parents, but genuinely for you. And that starts with asking yourself, okay, what do I actually like to do in life? And I'm going to pursue that thing, right? And while I'm pursuing that thing, yes, I'll have to do my 9 to 5 so that I can, pay off my bills and everything. But the stuff that you like, there's so many tools nowadays to be able to make money off of the thing that you like to do, or like that you like, or the things that you like to talk about. I'm not saying that you should monetize every little thing that you enjoy, but it wouldn't be so bad to be able to make money off of the thing that you genuinely loved, right? That's kind of the point that I'm getting at. But do it for you, not for external things, external people. Even if it's small, even if it's quiet, even if you're the only one that can see the vision, right? Because it's lonely. But yeah, if you're in your 20s and you're feeling stuck, just keep going. Start listening. Start listening to what's actually calling you. Okay, like you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep moving towards something that feels real to you. So it's a lot of what people are talking about now, where it's like your creation to consumption ratio needs to improve. A lot of us are just addicted to consuming right now, which is kind of perpetuating the loop. But try to create something that represents your inner self. I know that's so vague, but the only way to find that is by experimenting with things that you like and seeing how far you can take it and be like, I wonder if this thing that I like can help other people. That's pretty much where you got to start. But really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. So if you're on that same way, mind track, mindset, be mucho appreciated. But I'm just figuring it out, just like you, and just sharing what I've learned and what I'm currently working through. So again, we're not broken. We're just figuring some stuff out. So I'll see y'all in the next one.